The secret to mastering a game like Apex is gaining knowledge. Knowing how every legend feels, plays, and the small details in their kit can make or break a fight. So here's one tip for every Apex legend in Season 13. Let's start off with a fairly unknown trick that's especially useful if you're getting chased as a Valkyrie. Most teams will expect you to either Valk ult or use your thrusters to get away, which is useful, but you can instantly deploy your rockets behind you as you continue running to surprise your enemies and either slow them down or get enough damage to turn the fight and force a knock. In order to do this, just run in one direction, and then as you keep running, look down and hit the crouch button, and then immediately jump and hit your tactical button. This will give your pursuers a face full of Valkyrie rockets. The timings will take a little while to get used to, so make sure to practice this in the firing range so you don't end up hitting yourself when you try this out in a real game. Everyone knows that Ashe is a great legend to rotate, flank with, and to quickly make explosive team rotations to take high ground or push into teams if you make good entry, but not many consider her passive. Ashe's passive, Mark for Death, displays a marker over every death box that is less than 180 seconds old on the map, which is especially useful if you want to figure out where teams have been fighting recently. You can use these markers on the map to guess where those teams will rotate and set up ambushes where you think they will pass through. People always underestimate how useful Bangalore is for zoning out teams and controlling the area. She is especially useful in open maps such as Storm Point, where there's a large open ground without much cover, combined with certain areas where you can get boxed in under high ground such as on check or the newly added IMC armories. If you find that you're stuck under a team, you can use your ultimate to either clear them off of the high ground or distract them enough that you can run out from under the trap to a better position. You can also smoke off their line of sight when you are moving to give yourself even more time to reposition. Most experienced players have learned about kidnaps by now, but not everyone knows that there's a very simple way to instantly start firing after deploying a Wraith portal. Usually you'll have a slight animation stopping you from shooting your enemies after placing the portal, but if you simply hold the gun you want to use in your hands as you start deploying it, you'll be able to instantly shoot after you've placed the portal. This is something that even many experienced Horizon players get wrong. The black hole takes 2 seconds to activate after landing, after which is usually instantly destroyed by the enemy team if you put it in an exposed angle. Despite this, most Horizons throw their ultimate and then continue to follow it up with grenades, making the ultimate suck the enemies in, but not really hold them enough for the ordnances to do any real damage. This is because arc stars have a 2.8 second arm time and frag grenades have a 4-second fuse time. Always throw 1 or 2 throwables where you're going to toss your black hole before using your ultimate, and your odds of getting high value from the black hole increase significantly. Bloodhound is a great legend who can keep their teammates constantly informed of what the enemy is doing at all times during a fight. With the increase of ratting plays, it's more important than ever that you communicate when you spot a trail on the ground, and if you hear something odd or you are about to enter a choke or suspect area, make sure to scan to make sure there isn't a full team waiting on you around the corner. Additionally, if you're using your ultimate in a team fight, make sure to constantly pop the tactical off of cooldown to make sure that your teammates always know what is happening in the fight, because knowledge is power. Loba's Black Market allows you to steal any item within 200 meters of the boutique, meaning you can steal any ammunition off the ground to starve your opponents from resources. She's very useful in late game and especially when it comes to stealing armors. Contrary to popular belief, if there are duplicate items, the market does not pull the item that's the closest, but instead the farthest away. This means that you can have an armor placed on top of the black market and still be able to steal other armors off of death boxes or the ground farther away. Keep in mind though, this only works if the items are the same evo charge, so you can really only do this with armors that have no evo charge or are fully charged red armors, as well as fully healed. By the way, if this video has been helping you so far, make sure to hit that like button and maybe drop a comment about which tip you found the most useful. Everything goes a long way. Thank you. Seeing as this video has no sponsor, I figured I'd sponsor myself. If you want access to more Apex improvement content, I just launched my Patreon, giving you ways to get your VODs reviewed, access to previous VOD reviews, and learning with the community, and more. I'll be trying to do 1 VOD review a day for the next coming week. I'll be VOD reviewing the first 3 tier 3 patrons who drop their VODs in the Discord channel. After that, I'll be VOD reviewing a few times a week. Check out the link in the description. Caustic is a good legend to play for sustain, and it's very hard to clean out a team with a Caustic even if you knock 2 of them. If you start taking too much heat as a Caustic, duck into the nearest building and place traps on the doors and everywhere else, shoot the traps to activate them and throw your ultimate if needed to, and then safely reset within the gas and the cover. Turtling on the spot can give you enough space where your aggressors end up sticking around for too long and instead get third-partied. Keep in mind that your traps are breakable after being deployed and they have 150 health each. Fuse's tactical and passive gives you a grenade launcher that allows you to shoot grenades faster and for a longer range. But keep in mind that this means that skynading frag grenades just doesn't work. If you want to hit the skynade, make sure to turn off the grenade launcher passive with the secondary tactical button, which is default H on keyboard, to make sure it doesn't explode in the air. The tactical knuckle clusters are loud and can be deployed alongside a res to mask the sound of reviving your teammates in a pinch. Rampart's passive, modded loader, gives you 15% larger magazines and a 25% decrease on reload times when using light machine guns or VL-Star. And this effect does not only apply to guns with splatter rounds, but it also stacks with your modded loader. Splatter rounds give you a 25 faster reload time, meaning that if you equip an LMG, such as a Spitfire, you get an additional 25% reload speed increase on top of what you already get from your passive. This makes big mod weapons a must-have if you play on World's Edge. Gibraltar's shield has 50 health and absorbs damage on your front end that hits said shield. But most people don't know that the shield takes 9 seconds to recharge from any sort of damage, broken or otherwise, and that the health of the shield and the cooldown for a full recharge is visible when you hold the shield up on these small screens on the left and the right side of the shield. Since I play a lot of Gibraltar, here's a bonus tip. Gibraltar's bubble lasts for 12 seconds and makes a loud whomp sound, with the middle beam starting to flicker after about 7 seconds, signaling that there are 5 seconds left before your dome goes down. You can use this against enemy Gibraltars by waiting for the last few seconds of their bubble before throwing an ultimate on top of them, possibly surprising them when the bubble goes down and they are exposed to your barrage. As a lifeline, your care package is a great way to stock up and will always give upgrades to you and your own teammates' gear. One slot will always upgrade one of your team's shields, the other attachments, and the last one your helmet, knockdown shield, or backpack. If you have all of these items in gold quality already, you will instead get healing items depending on the slot. In addition to this, the care package can also be used to provide cover in a pinch or to completely lock off certain chokes or doorways. When thrown, Maggie's ultimate flies forward in the direction that she's aiming and will continue tumbling until it hits any obstacle, after which it will start bouncing around. The ball will temporarily stun any enemy hit by it, making it incredibly strong in a fight. If a team is holding a building or a room in front of you, you can use the speed boost provided by running behind the ball to approach a team and then let the ball hit the window or doorway to let it stun the entire team inside as you are running up. When playing crypto, you can quickly tap your drone to send it forward without entering drone view. If the drone hits any wall or obstacle, it will turn around to face towards you, and you can actually tell if a drone will hit a wall if this green crosshair on your HUD is lit up. You can use this mid-fight by deploying the drone on a wall near you to make sure that the enemies around the area get highlighted, making it easier for you and your team to focus them, and in some cases, see the enemy teams through smokes and other obstructions. Octane's jump pad is a useful way to clear ground horizontally or vertically while pushing onto your enemies after making an opening, such as a pick or heavy damage. But keep in mind that there's no need to combine it with your tactical stim. You end up taking damage from activating your ability, but the speed boost doesn't impact your range or the speed of which you fly from the jump pad. If you want to use a speed boost in conjunction with your jump pad, use it right before landing after the pad to get the most out of it. Revenant has a big chunky hitbox without any real movement abilities, and because of that he should be struggling in his 1v1s, right? Well, Revenant is actually very difficult to hit when he uses his passive correctly. Revenant's passive, Stalker, makes his crouch walking speed the same as his walking speed, which means you are almost guaranteed to confuse your enemies if you start crouching and dodging while fighting, and even more so if going in and out of crouch, since the average player is expecting a slowdown if you start crouching. Wattson is a great legend to hold down in controlled space, and much like Caustic, can stall out a team fight to stay alive for just a little bit longer. But if an enemy team takes over her base, she has a trick up her sleeve. Remember that you can always place a new fence using old nodes on the ground, meaning that if an enemy happens to be between you and a node, you can quickly place a fence to damage the enemy and stun both their aim and movement for 5 seconds, turning them into an easy kill. This also works through doors and is guaranteed to catch them off guard. Pathfinder struggles in a lot of fights and has to rely on his grapple to rotate and take angles. Thankfully, the grapple has an infinite pool of movement techniques to pull from, making him a very high skill ceiling character. The crosshair on your HUD is colored in an off-orange color if the grapple won't connect to anything, and it turns blue if it will. One easier but still useful grapple technique is called super grappling. This grapple pulls you faster and at a larger distance than the conventional grapple. You can accomplish one by aiming right on the edge, above or under a ledge, and then slowly moving your aim upwards or downwards a few pixels until the HUD stops being blue. Hit the grapple and then jump as soon as it starts reeling you in. This will launch you really far. If you want to learn more advanced grapple technique, I've linked that video in the description, and it's also available on the top right of the screen right now. Mirage is the master of 200 IQ plays and bamboozles and has an incredible depth for just how many things you can do to trick your enemies. But by now, most enemies are used to the common tricks and can tell the difference from a real Mirage and a clone, in part because of the animation. If you want a unique running animation, make sure to hold a grenade when sending your clone out. This is especially useful when setting the clone out of cover to make your enemies question the rest of the bamboozles that are about to come from you. Newcastle's ultimate is great and is on a short cooldown of 2 minutes. It's especially useful in large open areas and end games where everyone's going to be struggling to find any sort of cover. Typically, these end games are dominated by Gibraltars who will bubble to stay alive, but this bubble only lasts for 12 seconds. You can place your Newcastle ultimate near the edge of the ring or in an advantageous spot to stay safe, while the rest of the lobby scrambles to find cover as you fire on them for free. Don't be afraid to use the ultimate to set up a fight or to jump to your teammates, since the leap has a 35-meter range or a 70-meter range when leaping to teammates, and again, it only has a 2-minute cooldown. This season has a lot more rats than we previously have seen, in part due to how the new rank system promoting slower play and a lot of desperate attempts to force placement. Nevertheless, Seer might be the only way to consistently combat the rats. Your passive will reveal enemies within 75 meters, even through walls, if you hover over them with your passive active. Make sure to regularly scan around you as you are rotating, entering a new area, or finishing up a fight to constantly stay aware of your surroundings. Also, avoid using your tactical early unless absolutely necessary, since it has a very long cooldown and it will win you a fight if you use it to cancel a revive or the enemy's healing rather than just revealing them. That was one tip for every Apex Legend and a few extras. If you want more tips for every legend, that video is available on the screen right now. Did I miss anything, or do you have any banger tips to share? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.